Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang Dhammang Sanghang Namasami. So we have such a wonderful opportunity, as you know, and taking this kind of time to really focus on practice and doing it together in this way, and using the framework of the 7 factors of awakening is really, I think, a really wonderful opportunity. And I thought I would share a couple of suttas with you to try to give some grounding and encouragement as we start out together. The first one is from the Samyutta Nikaya, and I'm going to post these so you'll be able to take a look at them. I think I'll be hanging them probably in the foyer or maybe on the walls in here. We'll see. But it's in the book on the Bojjhangas, which is the Pali for the factors of enlightenment or awakening factors. And that is book number 46 in the Samyutta Nikaya, and this is the very first sutta. It's relatively short. Gives a beautiful image and names the 7 factors. So at Savatthi, mendicants, dragons grow and wax strong, supported by the Himalayas, the king of mountains. When they're strong, they dive into the pools, then they dive into the lakes, the streams, the rivers, and finally the ocean. There they acquire a great and abundant body. In the same way, a mendicant, or I think I'll rather say a practitioner, develops and cultivates the 7 awakening factors depending on and grounded on ethics, acquiring great and abundant good qualities. And how does a mendicant practitioner develop the 7 awakening factors depending on and grounded on ethics, acquiring great and abundant good qualities? It's when that practitioner develops the awakening factor of mindfulness, which relies on seclusion, fading away, and cessation, and ripens as letting go. It's when that practitioner develops the awakening factor of the investigation of principles, or Dhamma, the awakening factor of energy, the awakening factor of rapture, piti, the awakening factor of tranquility, the awakening factor of immersion, samadhi, and the awakening factor of equanimity, which all rely on seclusion, fading away, and cessation, ripening as letting go. That's how a practitioner develops and cultivates the 7 factors of awakening, depending on and grounded on ethics, acquiring great and abundant good qualities. So, taking the precepts, I'm sure the way you've been living your life, grounded on moral virtue, and then coming together and putting attention on these factors. And those 4 words that the Buddha uses there, seclusion, fading away, cessation, and ripening and letting go, that is a sequence that you see as the Buddha talks about awakening many, many places in the suttas. So you've got this opportunity for seclusion, for practicing, and also the rest of this, kind of comes naturally as we practice, as we reflect. I'm going to share another sutta with you that goes into more detail about what to base your practice on, and particularly having the right conditions. The sutta is just called Awakening, and it's in the Anguttara Nikaya. In the Book of Nines, it's number 1. So I have heard, at one time the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. There the Buddha addressed the mendicants, saying, "Mendicants, if wanderers of other religions were to ask, 'Reverends, what is the vital condition for the development of the awakening factors?' how would you answer them?" And they say, "Well, our teachings are rooted in the Buddha." This is a common response among the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. They were, "So please tell us and we'll listen and remember it." He says, "Okay, listen and apply your mind well, and I will speak." And they say, "Yes." Mendicants, if wanderers of other religions were to ask, "What is the vital condition for the development of the awakening factors?" here's how you should answer them. It's when a mendicant has good friends, companions, and associates. This is the vital condition for the development of the awakening factors. So here we are, good friends, other people we can trust. We're all together here with the same goal, with the same aim. This is a wonderful opportunity to practice together with good friends. Furthermore, this mendicant is ethical, restrained in the monastic code, conducting themselves well and resorting for alms in suitable places. Seeing danger in the slightest fault, they keep the rules they've undertaken. This is the second vital condition. So, living on 8 precepts. There's another place in the suttas where the Buddha says, whenever you take the 8 precepts, as a layperson, you're living like the Arahants. So you get a chance to live like the Arahants with these precepts here. And don't worry if you're taking a little food in the afternoon, that's not really the critical factor. But having this grounding, and we're all sort of we're all in this environment here, keeping the precepts that we've undertaken. And this is a beautiful opportunity for this development. And then, furthermore, the practitioner gets to take part in talk about self-effacement that helps open the heart. So self-effacement, the rubbing away or erasing of the defilements. And when they want, without trouble or difficulty, they're able to take part and talk about self-effacement that helps open up the heart when they want to, without trouble or difficulty. That is, talk about fewness of wishes, contentment, seclusion, aloofness, arousing energy, ethics, immersion, wisdom, freedom, and the knowledge and vision of freedom. This is a third vital condition. So we're going to come together in our groups to discuss the practice. This is our opportunity to talk about these things that matter on the path, our questions about them, and our experience of them. Furthermore, the practitioner lives with energy roused up for giving up unskillful qualities, embracing skillful qualities. They're strong, staunchly vigorous, not slacking off when it comes to developing skillful qualities. This is the fourth vital condition for developing the awakening factors. So we'll be hopefully, I know that you can come into a retreat very tired. And I believe are we going to have an early morning sit tomorrow? but we will. Yeah, but feel free to rest if you need to rest for tomorrow, because some of you have to come from a long way, and I know for Carol it's like already 10:30 at night. It's been a long day, and just rest and take care of yourself. But then really we're going to be talking about the various hindrances that are remedied by the 7 factors of enlightenment, and bringing up energy and overcoming, dullness and so on is part of that. And so bringing up the energy. We're also going to talk about right effort is no effort, which is another whole slant on the thing, to really see what does it mean to bring up energy, and what does it mean to put in effort that actually brings about good results. Furthermore, the practitioner is wise. They have the wisdom of arising and passing away, which is noble, penetrative, and leads to the complete ending of suffering. So that wisdom with really exploring, investigating impermanence, really noticing the arising and passing away within your meditation practice, but also within the world around you. We have such a beautiful forest here. The forest, Ajahn Chah said, we can learn everything. The forest will teach us everything. We can see, the new coming up of animals, plants. We can see the withering and the deterioration and the death. It's all right here in the forest. Very easy to witness. And I know that maybe all of you have done this before, but we're going to, just use some reflection to try to really let that deep wisdom of the truth of the arising and passing away take hold at a deep level, so that it's really the wisdom that is noble and penetrative, leading to the complete ending of suffering. That's often a sign of stream entry, when that everything that arises ceases, really becomes crystal clear. And then the Buddha says, a practitioner with good friends, companions, and associates can expect to be ethical. Because if you're with others who are practicing ethics, moral virtue, we're likely to be doing it too. And when this practitioner with good friends, companions, and associates, they can also has good friends, companions, and associates, you can also expect to take part in talk about self-effacement that opens the heart. And one with good friends, companions, and associates can expect to live with energy roused up. They can also expect to be wise. A mendicant grounded on these 5 things should develop 4 further things. That's how this got into the Book of Nines. They should develop the penetration of the unbeautiful, or ugliness, to give up greed. They should develop love to give up hate, and that would be metta. Develop mindfulness of breathing to cut off thinking, and the perception of impermanence to uproot the conceit I am. When you perceive impermanence, the perception of not self becomes stabilized. Perceiving not self, you uproot the conceit I am and attain nibbana in this very life. So we'll do what we can. I feel so fortunate that we have these teachings from the Buddha where he lays it out, and it gives us the opportunity to just immerse ourselves in it and see where it takes us. So like I said, I'll post these so you can take a look at them and maybe reflect on those things. And tomorrow we'll start talking in more depth about mindfulness. And the morning reflection, as I said, is at 8:45. And then at 2 o'clock, in general, there'll be a guided meditation. And then at 7 or 6, there's at 6:30 in the evening there'll be puja, but then at 7:30 a Dhamma talk or question answering kind of thing, something like that. That's the general structure of our days, and everything in between is practice as your system feels ready. Sitting, walking, taking walks in the forest, using time for reflection, eating mindfully, etc. So we're now entering noble silence. So of course that means if there's something that needs to be sorted out, then doing it as quietly and with as simply as possible, and staying with yourself inside, and letting the mind become more still. And most of you have done this so many times that you know that the mind has its own program. We've been preconditioned quite thoroughly, but the intention to stay with it, stay present with it, and encouraging it to settle, encouraging the body to settle. And as we look at each of these awakening factors and also the hindrances that they counterbalance, we'll have a chance to take it step by step. I think that's enough information for tonight. So we'll take some time. Go ahead. So we'll take some time to sit, and after we leave, you are welcome to sit longer or go whenever you wish.